Welcome back, y'all. I have another style tip. This style is going to be for crochets. So if you ever wanted crochets and you want a braided front, but you want the back down and you still want it to lay flat, this is by far one of the easiest ones to do. So you start off by doing your ear to ear part. So this is important. If you have it too close to the front, you can have a hump if they have really thick hair. So you'll want to shift this line kind of behind the ear more if their hair is very thick. Otherwise, regular, you're right here. This is pretty good. And then you're going to take that back and then you're just going to get it out the way. So from here, you want to go through and braid up your front however you want to braid it. But remember, thick hair, push the line back a bit. If you want the hair to fall more in the front, push that line at the top of the ear. So I'm gonna go ahead and braid this up and then we're gonna get to the rest of this video. So now after you guys are done braiding your front, this very front part needs to be very thin. So you saw how small that part was for me. That was about like a pencil size of a part. Now going around the back, you can make that part wider, but that very front row going right behind all of your braids need to be thin. This is going to help it so that way, one, when you do your crochets up front, they will fall more forward without the hump. So if that front part is too thick, it will leave a hump at that very first braid. Now you want to go through and braid each one of your braids back a little bit more so that way you can tuck them underneath. So you're just going to take where that part was behind the hair, take that hair, separate it, make you a line. I'm going to show you right here. So make you a line right behind that braid, take that braid, lay it right in the middle of that line, and then braid that braid back some so that way it is out your way and you're able to connect it to another braid, because that's what we're doing with those. So we're not adding any of those front braids to this very front braid. That is going to keep this braid very thin, very close to the scalp, so that way it does not create a hump at the front of your braids. So go ahead and braid that across. Now, I do want to note that even though you guys are making a thin part on this front one, it's still thick enough that it's going to give structure to this front braid. If that person's hair is very fine or thin, add a piece of braiding hair to help this front braid have at least the thickness that I have here. You see how flat that braid lays, and then you start to pick up your thickness towards the back behind the ear. That area doesn't have to be so thin, and actually if you make that area parted too thin in the back, you can create bumps for this lower back braid. So give yourself enough there. If you feel that the braid is too tight, have that client hold the braid and you loosen up. Don't just have them hold it and you don't loosen up. These I typically do pretty loose in that lower back so that way it can move and they can turn their heads without creating any bumps in the lower back. Now for the second one, we are going to do every other braid. So each one of those braids that we have that's behind going to the back now, that was into your ponytail, you're going to grab every other one to go in this next braid that you're braiding in the circle. So if you find that that person's hair is too thick to add every other braid, just do as many as you can without making a thick braid, because even this braid we still want pretty thin. So if their hair is really thick, only add 1 or 2 braids to this next braid and add the other ones to the middle braids. So we're basically taking those braids that's in the front and we're bringing the ends towards the back of the head. This is going to help you take the bulk out the top and you're bringing it to the back area where nobody sees it. And by the time it makes it all the way to the back, it's going to make a flatter look. So I'm going to go ahead and braid this one all the way up and show you guys what it looks like when it's done. Okay, after you guys are done braiding it up, make sure that you guys stitch off your tail braid so that way it doesn't come loose while they are wearing their crochets. People like to wear this style anywhere from 2 to 3 months, unfortunately. Hopefully, most people will only wear it 6 weeks, but if you have a great install, a lot of them try to stretch it, really stretch it. But try to give them the warnings to let them know, like, hey, you know, the longer you go, the drier your hair is going to get, the more breakage that you're going to get. So that's one of those things to keep in mind. So if you are one of those people that like to wear your crochets longer and longer, the longer you do it without a proper wash, you are going to have a lot more breakage because you're going to have more buildup. It's going to be more sediment on the hair, and your hair is not able to get properly saturated when you guys are moisturizing it underneath the braids. So keep that in mind. This is only a protective style for a limited time. After that, it is no longer a protective style and you are creating damage on your hair. So after you guys get that done, so now you see that the crochets just lay and it falls towards the front like it's supposed to, so they can wear it down or they can wear it up. And that's the finished look.